US-EU alliance weakens amid growing tensions.
US President Donald Trump stated that the European Union was primarily formed to take advantage of the United States on trade, and that the bloc is very difficult to deal with. In a post on Truth Social on May the 23rd, Trump accused the EU of imposing massive trade barriers, manipulating currency, and launching unfair and unjust lawsuits against American companies operating in Europe. He emphasized that such actions have resulted in a trade deficit of over $250 billion annually, which he called totally unacceptable. Our trade negotiations with them are going nowhere, Trump wrote. Therefore, I am proposing a 50% tariff on EU goods starting June 1st, 2025. He added that the proposed tariffs would not apply to products made in the USA. The EU has not yet commented on Trump's latest remarks. Observers note that Trump's statement marks a significant shift in tone compared to his previously warm remarks about European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, whom he recently praised as a terrific person and expressed hopes to meet soon. However, despite meetings with several European leaders, Trump has yet to hold a one-on-one meeting with von der Leyen. In contrast, in an interview with the Financial Times, von der Leyen responded to the possibility of retaliatory tariffs and the future of US-EU trade talks, stating, "Transatlantic relations won't return to how they were. This is a turning point. We will never go back to the old normal." Not long ago, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen firmly stated that she would only meet with the US leader if there were a concrete trade package that both sides could negotiate. Brussels even put forward a list of potential concessions, including regulatory easing and a joint effort to restrict exports to China. In the latest development on May 8th, the EU issued a warning that it could impose retaliatory tariffs on US goods worth 95 billion euros, approximately 107 billion US dollars, if negotiations fail. A 218-page tariff list was published to increase pressure on Washington and force a deal. President Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, harshly criticized the EU's move, calling it a provocative act. This isn't the first time that storm clouds have gathered over transatlantic trade relations. During President Trump's first term, escalating trade tensions led to tit-for-tat tariffs, inflicting economic damage on both sides. Analysts believe that the EU has anticipated the risk of another unwanted trade war, but EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Kaja Kallas reminded that no one wins in a trade war. That observation is particularly relevant given the significance of US-EU economic ties, which are considered one of the main arteries of the global economy. According to Eurostat, bilateral trade between the two sides reaches approximately $1.5 trillion annually, accounting for about 30% of global trade. As major economic partners, both the US and the EU would suffer serious consequences if a full-blown tariff war erupts. For the EU, this threat comes at a particularly vulnerable time. Key economies like France and Germany are grappling with economic turmoil, budget deficits, and soaring public debt. In 2024, the EU recorded a growth rate of just 0.7%, following a mere 0.4% in 2023. Fitch Ratings has warned that new tariffs from the US could further exacerbate Europe's already fragile growth outlook, especially for export-driven economies such as Germany. Of course, on the flip side, the US is not immune to the fallout of a trade conflict and may also face retaliatory tariffs from the EU in response. In the face of mounting challenges from the United States, the European Union finds itself caught in a dilemma. The bloc is grappling with internal fragmentation, the rise of Eurosceptic factions, and a lack of cohesion among its member states. For example, France, under the leadership of President Emmanuel Macron, has been pushing for greater economic sovereignty and stronger protectionist measures. Meanwhile, Germany, the economic powerhouse of Europe, is taking a more cautious stance, expressing concern over the possibility of a trade war. Each member state holds different perspectives and interests, making it difficult to forge a unified response. To minimize risks, EU leaders are actively seeking to de-escalate tensions with the US. Many policymakers support negotiation over confrontation, viewing dialogue as essential to avoiding a turbulent disruption of transatlantic relations. In conclusion, while current US-EU trade negotiations are fraught with challenges, they also present an opportunity for both sides to reaffirm their commitment to cooperation and seek fair, sustainable solutions. At a time of growing global competition, deeper US-EU collaboration could not only benefit both parties, but also help uphold international trade order and promote global economic stability and growth.